What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, break you down on what's really moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve's down 5.29%, 357 the low, 371 the high, and extremely low volume. So 1.5 million shares being traded, 19.9 is the average. When it comes down to Rezolve, there has been no news from it. So last news did come out November the 5th, which I already did a video on. I think generally that's good entry into the States. Aside from that, there really hasn't been that much. On Friday after hours, pretty much shortly after I did my video on Friday, there was a couple of prospectuses that was submitted, and I think they are just rewording and changing some numbers minorly, more specifically listed to kind of the selling stockholders. So I think in general, just the timing of that isn't great whatsoever. Any stock in general, on a side note, doing anything after hours on Friday is a red flag instantly. Anyone that tells me otherwise is completely wrong. Like, if you're trying to hide something and get people to forget about it, you submit it after hours on Friday. So generally, it's just one of those weird things. I know I've mentioned this in the past that I do feel just the overall sector is going to continue to grow. So Rezolve should piggyback off of that, but there's just a lot of weird things that is happening. And I think a lot of people are catching on to it. So the last news of substance did come out on October the 27th, saying that they're participating in two events, November the 18th and November the 19th. So Roth MKM, and I believe this one is RBC. So that should be hopefully pretty good, getting their name out there and maybe drawing some more institutional attention to it, because lately institutions have not been paying attention to it at all. So right now, one transaction on the secondary market, and it is a sell. And I think that's kind of the bad thing about Rezolve, is that they did get used to doing those PR blitzes, which artificially push the stock price higher, which I think did prompt a lawsuit. So overall, it's not necessarily the best. You did see, interestingly enough, this posted this morning at 9:16 a.m. saying that they are live from Lisbon. Rezolve AI CEO Dan is on the main stage delivering his keynote. So it's kind of weird that they didn't bring this up, nor that they're not live streaming it whatsoever. So it is what it is. So I think just at this stage in the game, there's just a lot of consumer linked fear. Even technically what came out early this morning, ADP weekly came in at negative 11,000. Previous was 14,000. So that's clearly showing some signs of cracking. And then you also have this coming out early this morning from Goldman, saying that in October, roughly around, the US lost about 50,000 jobs. So again, not the greatest. They're kind of comparing it to 2020. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, like I mentioned, just the broader sector should continue to kind of move higher, but Rezolve really needs to put their money where their mouth is and actually get some short-term catalysts. And I always see almost every single one of my videos the same type of comment. And this right here, Valentino did say, show the AI in action live, then I'll reinvest. A lot of people have not really seen that happen. And even myself, I think they did a vague, was it like 30-second, 1-minute demonstration during one of the fireside chats that I do have on my channel. But aside from that though, like, you can download the plugin, but I've never really tried that because it wouldn't be any benefit to me, and because I don't shop there, and I don't even know if it would work essentially in Canada. So I think there's just a lot of grayness, and if the company was actually paying attention to its investors and cared, they would do that. They would just do a quick demonstration, because it wouldn't really be that hard. No different than what I'm doing. Just record your screen and that is it. At the time of doing this video, shorts aren't really doing anything, and they haven't really done anything of substance since October the 27th. 8.76% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 13.6 million shares overall are being shorted. Looking at the options, 34,000 in calls, and then roughly 6,600 in puts. 53% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you don't really see that much. Like, most of it is $6 for December, which is rather odd. Could be just a covered call, but aside from that, the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 350. So it's a very weird scenario. Like I said, I think there was a lot of hype, but as I even brought up, I think just them doing their PR blitzes, it did just artificially push the stock price higher. And even on the dark pool, you see so far 5 transactions, and shorts aren't doing anything right now. So it is fair to assume that a lot of this is linked to hedge funds. So some of them clearly, based on the price action, must be selling, but with it at 354, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 313 and then 397 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. And so I think even on a technical standpoint, it is really breaking down. So it has not been above that 10-day moving average since, it looks like, October the 8th. So it is really breaking down, losing a lot of momentum, breaking below that 50-day moving average, and that is a huge deal for a lot of growth stocks. And then recently it did break below that 100-day moving average. So currently trading between that 10 and also 200-day moving average, which is at 306. Potentially, that could be where it does draw the line, where it could be the bottom, bounces off of that. And I think at that stage, that is where I most likely would buy a little bit. But still, looking at the market position, you see absolutely no buyers at all. And so this is kind of scary. Like I said, I think Rezolve, even when it was running up, it wasn't really on a lot of people's radar. And maybe this is where short started to really hit it hard, kind of suppress it a little bit. Plus the lawsuit, they stopped the, I guess, artificial algorithmic trading push. And then this is kind of the repercussions of it. So it's very unfortunate. But as I've mentioned, if Rezolve does put out something concrete, then you could see a nice push higher, because stochastic RSI is extremely oversold. So like I said, a good piece of news could really push it higher, but I think it's a little bit more of a virtual, like, falling knife right now. So some people love to catch those types of falling knives, but it's very, very difficult to really tell where the bottom might be. It is kind of fair to assume that possibly this 200-day moving average might be it, but still nothing crazy. I don't know. You guys do your own due diligence, of course. Aside from that, there really hasn't been all that much in kind of analyst ratings, any articles, so it's still just kind of falling under the radar. You did have on November the 7th, a rating that did come out, a buy $7 price target by Northland. I'm not really a fan of Northland. Same with H.C. Wainwright, to be fully honest, because I've seen, not speculating here, but I've seen a lot of people kind of insinuate that both of those can just be bought, and possibly even Roth MKM, but definitely Northland, I don't really take anything that they have for face value. And plus, on a side note, they didn't really even change their price target. They went from 7 to 7, and that was last done October the 8th, and then prior to that was October the 2nd. So it sounds like this individual just loves to hear themselves speak and just be the most latest rating, because there's absolutely no valid reason why you would need to reiterate your $7 rating on October the 2nd, October the 8th, and now November the 7th. It makes no sense. And the weird thing is, a lot of these analysts are paid like $150,000 or more. So this guy loves to kind of hear himself speak. But nonetheless, let me know your thoughts on Rezolve. Where are you buying next? What is your general thoughts? Obviously, you guys have been most likely able to tell that I haven't been doing that much in Rezolve videos. Like, I'm doing basically one a week now. And that's just because I think it's losing momentum. And the whole purpose of this kind of channel is trending. So I do feel that doing one a week is probably good, unless something does come out for news. But still, I think Rezolve right now is a falling knife, and it's down about 7.8, 7.9% now. So crazy stuff. So let me know your thoughts on Rezolve. One final thing, if you are interested in some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.